Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Go Big or Go Home. I am Old Man Troy, joined by the spectacular youngster, Kevin Cunningham, a.k.a. Kid Cunny on Twitter. How are you doing today? We're recording this show a little later in the week. Normally it's a Monday show. Today it's a Friday. It's not even afternoon. It's early evening show.
Yeah, Friday night. Friday Night Lights show.
Call it the Friday Night Lights show.
Yeah. There we go. I'm doing all right. Still, leftover sick feeling, but I'm fine at the end of the day. What about you, Troy?
Oh, well, summertime, holiday time, and in the beverage business, long days. Like I said, though, I don't complain about them. I just text you, hey, I'm not going to be done till this time. Hey, I'm not going to be done till this time. It's part of the business.
Right.
There's nothing I can do about it. If I'm going to sit here and complain about it, I might as well look for another job.
Right.
I actually really enjoy my job, and I don't mind working long hours. The thing that sucks right now, though, Kevin, it's really humid out here in Western PA. Really pea soup humid. And a lot of the stores I go to, if I go in a cooler, that's one thing. The coolers are, they're automatically going to be nice and cool. However, I have accounts that are like grocery stores or markets, and so all of their back stock is in the back room. You've been a stock boy before.
Yes, I have.
A lot of these older places, they don't have air conditioning in the back room. They don't. It's just more effective to not air condition the back room.
Yeah.
So my last account, I'm literally in the back room working with about a pallet of back stock, and I can just feel the beads of sweat running down my face and dripping on the floor. That's how hot it was in that back room. And then you reload the door, and it's like, poof! It's like you're in Antarctica because you just went from sticky, humid sweating to air conditioning.
Yeah.
So if I'm on the show next week all stuffy and congested, that very well could be why. I had about 4 accounts like that today where the back room was not air conditioned, and it's like, whew. And to tell you how bad it is, youngster, I actually pack an extra shirt in my car when it's summertime. I do. Because I know that I have accounts where I just sweat. So I'm sure people want to hear about the old man sweat on this show. So we're going to end it right there. Not a very long show on Go Big today. We have some good news, I guess, and not so good news. Michigan lost in the College World Series, but got to the final.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you my quick thoughts on that as we go on, and then you have another baseball topic, so take it away.
So this show is going to be a shorter show, like Troy mentioned, and it's all baseball talk because that's just, as it should be. Because, Troy, do you know the last time a Big Ten team was the runner-up in the College World Series?
Probably never. There was one?
I figured you were going to say that. 1965. 1965, there was a runner-up from the Big Ten, Ohio State. The year after that, they won the title. That was 1966. I'm looking at history here, B1 baseball history. The Big Ten kind of did really well in the 60s.
Probably because there was only 30 teams in the tournament.
Exactly. I mentioned 1965 Ohio State runner-up, 1966 Ohio State title winner. Since then, no Big Ten team has even made the final. Not one. That was 53 years ago. So, like you said, Troy, there's bad news on this show, but my God, it's unbelievable that Michigan made it to the title game. It's been 53 years since any Big Ten team even got there. That's incredible. And they played Vanderbilt. They were up 1-0. I was like, holy crap, we're actually going to be talking about the best team in college baseball on the show. And it just so turned out that Vanderbilt, who was 59-12 to end this year.
Oh, they're loaded.
Oh, yeah. They won game
they're
2.
Loaded they're loaded with MLB talent.
They're always
flat out loaded.
5 years ago, they won the whole thing. Vanderbilt's always loaded. 4 years ago, they were runner-up. It's not as though Michigan lost to another decent program. I mean, this is North Carolina, Duke, Ohio State, basketball, football, respectively. It's that type of program. So there is no shame. There is no real bad news, even so to say. It sucks that Michigan lost, of course. But at the end of the day, I mean, my God, it's been 53 years since the Big Ten team has been in this position. It's incredible. And
no, I think you bring up a good point, youngster, about it sucks because as a coach, as a player, you don't want to hear. You don't want to hear. Well, we're going to pat you on the back. Good job, Michigan. No, those players and coaches are pissed off.
Of course.
They're like, no, we are in the College World Series final. We didn't just get there and say, oh, what a great year. No, they wanted to win.
Right.
But now that you let the dust settle and you can look back on the season, Michigan can say, hey, we had a good run. And wow, we did something that hasn't happened in the Big Ten in over 50 years.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. So congratulations, Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I wanted two things, but the first, and then the show in my mind will be over, but the first, to start this kind of College World Series, not the College World Series itself, but the final, Michigan and Vandy. James Franklin, the head football coach at Penn State now, he worked at Vanderbilt. Like, he was the Vanderbilt head football coach. And people from the Big Ten were giving him crap because he was rooting for Vanderbilt in this series. Like, I think he showed up to a game, and I don't know the exact details, but it came out that he was rooting for Vanderbilt. And people had, like, a legitimate problem. It's like, if you work at an institution for, I don't know how long he did, let's just say 7 years, 10 years, whatever it was, like, you become friends, you become friendly with the head baseball coach or the head softball coach or the tennis coach or whatever. Like, you work with these people year after year after year after year after year. You're going to build some sort of connection there. So I don't care that the Penn State football coach, isn't rooting for Michigan baseball in the College World Series final.
Well, you can add a little touch to that, too. Penn State and Michigan are rivals. They're rival schools. Why would you cheer for – I mean, I'll put it – in high school, Kevin, we lost to our rival school in the state semifinals. They played in the final. I wasn't rooting for them to win the state title. Right. No way in the world.
Yeah.
No way in the world was I rooting for them to win the state title.
Right.
They're our rival. I don't want them to win. They just beat me. I know it's a little different because it's a different sport. But, again, I have no problem with this either. He coaches at Penn State. It would be different. It would be different if it was Vanderbilt versus Penn State, and now he's cheering for Vanderbilt. That would be a little bit different.
Right.
But I could give a rat's kahootie that he's cheering for Vanderbilt. Right. Who cares?
Why would James Franklin care about Michigan baseball? Why? He knows people. He knows the coach. Guaranteed. The head baseball coach in 2014 was the same guy who won it, the coach just now in 2019.
Even if he didn't know the coach, youngster, I don't care. Again, so, like, I coached at a couple institutions. If they got somewhere and hadn't done it in a while, and I was there and I know some of these people, I'm cheering for them, even if I guess I can't make the analogy. I don't coach anymore.
I'll put it this way. If I went to UW-Whitewater, this is very small scale. I went to UW-Whitewater. If I landed a job at USF, okay, and because Cincinnati is in the same conference and UW-Whitewater played Cincinnati in a national championship game, of course I'm going to root for where I went, where I worked before, as opposed to, oh, gee, Cincinnati's in the same conference as the team I'm affiliated with now, so I have to root for them. No. You're going to root for where you lived for 7, 8 years and have a ton of memories and friends from and colleagues, and who cares that Michigan's in the same conference as Penn State? It means nothing, especially when you're considering a different sport. What? So I just didn't understand that at all. And then my second thing, unless you got anything more on that, Troy.
Well, no, I was just going to add, it's kind of like you cheering for Duke against Michigan State. We do a Big Ten show.
Right.
You're cheering for Duke. So everybody should hate you. I mean, it was so minuscule. I mean, it has no bearing. No bearing whatsoever. So, carry on.
Second and last thing I wanted to mention, if I can remember it now. Shoot. I told you my head was getting spacey. So big picture baseball going forward, do you think that Michigan making it, that was the other thing I want to mention too before this, very quickly. I just wanted to equate what Michigan did this season very, very quickly. They were a 3 seed, okay? So it's not as though there were 4 different 16 seeds. It's not college basketball. They were a 3 seed, which is equivalent, really, if you go by the numbers, that's about a 12 seed, but because it's Michigan, because they were on top of the Big Ten, I wouldn't say this was a college basketball 12 seed making it to the final, but this was like a 10. And Troy and I texted about this while this series was going on. This is like a 10 seed in college basketball making it to the final. Like, this is, Troy called it a Cinderella via text. This is a legitimate Cinderella story. So, again, hats off to what Michigan did. I just wanted to share that with the listeners because I think it's legitimate. This is like a 10 seed, a 9 seed, getting all the way to the final in March Madness.
Yeah, because some people are probably wondering why we're spending so much time talking about Michigan in the college baseball World Series. We really rarely talk about Big Ten baseball, but you hit it right on the head, Kevin. The way that it's seeded, it's the pods, and so being a 3 seed in that pod, when you move out, you're basically on the bottom of the barrel.
They weren't not only not supposed to make it out of the regional, they weren't supposed to make it past the team that was ahead of them that wasn't supposed to make it. There was a 1 seed and there was a 2 seed that were supposed to make it before them. So again, if you're a 10 seed, you pull off that first upset in the first round, you're beating a 7 seed. It is what it is. Whatever. It's basically a coin flip. Same thing with Michigan beating a 2 seed. Okay, a 3 beating a 2, whatever. Once you get to that next game as a 10 seed, like, you're beating a 2 at that point, or a 15, most likely a 2 in the second round. That's a legitimate upset. That's pretty crazy. And so Michigan getting out of that regional, beating the 2 seed, beating the 1 seed, that's pretty crazy just to get to the Sweet 16, so to say. And then you start playing a 3 seed, and then in the next round you're playing a 1 seed, and then it's the Final Four and you're playing a 1 or a 2 seed, and then it's the final and you're playing another 1 or a 2 seed. Like that again, they were not supposed to even come close to this point, let alone even get to the Sweet 16, a.k.a. Super Regionals. I mean, so it was a hell of a job by Michigan baseball this year. I just wanted to mention that. Going to my final point here, long term, not even necessarily like 20 years down the line, but like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, do you think this run that Michigan had helps Michigan baseball, helps Big Ten baseball, helps elevate Michigan/Big Ten baseball in the next few years, recruiting-wise, lifts up the conference? There's your answer. There you go.
And I'm gonna go back to what we've talked about a million times, Kevin. If I'm a baseball player, I'm not going to the north.
Right.
I'm staying south, or I'm going west, where I can play 12 months out of the year outside. I mean, you can play 12 months in the north, but you're going to be playing in an indoor facility, a turf room, a gym. No, I don't think it helped. It was a magical run, and people in the baseball world, Kevin. So our listeners, and I'm sure we got listeners out there that you just listen to us because you like us, and you're not baseball fans. So those that are entrenched in baseball, Kevin, and they grow up and these kids are like, I'm going to play college baseball. Michigan didn't all of a sudden pop on their radar. They know it was a Cinderella run. They know they were a 3 seed. They're not a dominant program. Did it maybe help regionally to get some of the guys from the Midwest? Sure. There it did. But I think where you were going is more on a national scale to start landing equivalent to 5-star recruits in football. Not happening. It will help them have an advantage over every other Big Ten school when it comes to local kids. And when I say local, I mean Midwest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll help there, but it's not going to help on a national scale. Kids do not want to go to the Big Ten to play baseball if they grow up in a Tennessee. Vanderbilt will be their destination. They grow up in Georgia. They're not going to want to come to Michigan. They grow up, in Arizona. Why would they want to come to the Midwest?
Right.
So no, I don't think it helped one bit as far as a national scale recruiting, Kevin. It'll help regionally, but not nationally.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm not going to build off that. I want to mention too, the last Midwest or clearly cold weather school that made it to the final was Wichita State, and I'm just including Wichita State because they're Midwest. It's Kansas, so it's Midwest. It can get colder for sure. That was 1993. That was the last team that was Midwest or clearly cold. I still haven't even found a clearly cold school that's made the final. I'm scrolling. I'm in the 70s now. Eastern Michigan, 1976. That's the last
back again when there was like 30 schools in a tournament.
Before that, I think you literally have to go to the 60s when, Southern Illinois, 1971. But I'll just do 2010 and on. The teams that went to the final. South Carolina, warm. UCLA, warm. South Carolina, 2011, warm. Florida, warm. 2012, Arizona, warm. South Carolina, warm. UCLA in 2013, warm. Mississippi State, warm. Vanderbilt, warm. Virginia, warmer. Virginia again in 2015, warm. Vanderbilt, warm. Coastal Carolina, warm. Arizona, warm. Florida, warm. LSU, warm. Oregon State, warm. Arkansas, warm. And now this year, Vanderbilt, again, warm. You're either basically in California or you're in the southeast. Again, you have to go to 1993 to even find a Midwest school. And then you have to go to the 70s to find a clearly cold weather school that even made it to the final. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous how regional the college baseball scene is. You don't see that in football. Ohio State will have its year. Penn State will have its year. Wisconsin will have its year. Where it's holy crap, that's a top 5 team right there. Ohio State will win the whole thing. You can get cold weather schools in football. You can get warm weather schools in whatever, occasionally, in a colder weather sport environment.
Hockey. Hockey action.
Soccer. I mean, there's no way in soccer that the last cold weather school to make the final was in the 70s. There has to have been one. And maybe I'm off, but it's unbelievable how west driven and southeast driven baseball is. It's crazy in terms of postseason success anyway. So I just thought it was interesting. Just gives a little historical perspective on what Michigan just did, because it's quite ridiculous. And as long as we're going to host this show, Troy, you talk about the men's World Cup team not, making it to the final, winning it, making it to the semifinal even. As long as we do this show, I don't expect another Big Ten team to make the College World Series final. Period.
Well, if it holds true to the years in between, that means you said it was 53 years, right, since the last time?
Last time a Big Ten team made the final. Yeah.
53 years. So I'd be doing this show in my 100th.
Yeah. It would be the year 2072.
Woo! That would be great if we're still doing the show in 2072. I mean, I don't plan to end the show.
No.
Unless the listeners don't listen and there's no need for our show, then we'll end the show. We probably won't anyway. We'd probably still record it.
It'll be the oldest man and the old man. That'll be our show.
Well, you'd be pretty old too, because you'd be in your 80s.
That's what I'm saying. It would be the oldest man. You would be the oldest man, and then I would be the old man. That's what our show would be. So, 2072, here we go.
Yeah, well, let's set that as a goal. All
right.
Actually, the year 2070, I will turn 100.
There we go.
So we have to make it to the year 2070.
Okay.
First, I got to stay alive that long.
Oh yeah, that's That's number one.
I'm not worried about the show itself. I'm more worried about my own individual health. Getting to 100. But, all right, youngster, before we go today, though, I know this is a Big Ten show, but it is a sports-related show, and I'll tell you, I cannot wait to get home and watch the Women's World Cup game. Again, I was working all day. I saw the highlights, and I mean, I want to say, looking at the stats, and again, stats don't always tell the story, but if you want to check out our other show, find us on Twitter at Youngster Old Man. We did a Saturday radio show. And, Kevin, if you remember what I said, how can France beat the United States? They have to possess the ball more than the United States. I think it was like 68 to 32. They always got them 20 to 10.
If I remember right, it was 60-40 at the end. For France.
So I'm excited to watch this, and I'm glad the U.S. won. And it's good that they got tested, but I'm ready to watch this and think that France may have dominated this game. And that does not happen very often against the U.S.
Yeah. Well,
you'll watch any of it.
I watched the whole thing, so I know how it went down. I'll say this, that I was surprised.
Beans, youngster. I'm going to watch either way. I've already read everything that I can find.
Yeah.
So in your mind, did France dominate this game?
In my mind?
Yes.
No, they didn't.
You're enough of a soccer guru. You know soccer well.
Yeah, I do.
You're not going to run out and coach it, but you know it well enough.
No, I mean, my very quick dissection of it was that the U.S., you could tell the U.S. was better, and the U.S. was almost up 3-0. They had a goal. They scored a goal to go up 3-0. It was called offside at the last second. After that point, it was like the 65th minute or something like that, 70th minute. After that happened, the U.S. just kind of dropped back, and it was just all France on the attack. I was surprised it was 60-40 possession, to be honest, because the U.S., in my mind anyway, the first 60, 65 minutes, they clearly showed they were better. But France...
You see how stat lines can lie.
Yeah, right. But you'll watch it.
You'll Kevin, we talked about is if the U.S. scores early, it's over.
Yeah, and then they did.
They scored 5 minutes in.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm curious to see your thoughts.
I'm excited to watch it, though.
Yeah, after you watch it. Yeah. I'm excited.
So, again, the U.S. advances, again, to basically the medal round. Hopefully they win to get to the championship. If they lose, they'll play in the third-place game, and they've never finished lower than third place in a World Cup. Ever.
Yeah. They play England on, July 2nd, which is Tuesday. They play England on.
Yeah, it'll be another good one. All right. I'm all done, youngster. You want to let the listeners know where they can find us?
Twitter.com/youngsteroldman. So that's at youngsteroldman. Facebook.com/youngsteroldman. So if you search in Facebook, youngsteroldman, you'll find us. Youngsteroldman.home.blog is our own website. Obviously, The Grueling Truth. You don't need to know our personal Twitters. Just check out Youngster Old Man anywhere on the internet, and you'll be sure to find us somewhere.
Yeah, and you'll see the crazy picture of an old man playing a drum and a little kid looking up at him. I kind of like that crazy little picture, though.
I do.
All right, folks, hope you enjoyed the show today. For the youngster, I am the old man. We'll get back at you next week on the same network, The Grueling Truth. Have a good day, everyone.